Hi, everyone. Today, me and Helevorn are going to be talking about our upcoming Valentine's Day crossover comic, which will be released on Tapas, Webtoon, and the Ninth. Links are in my link tree, as usual. So this comic is not really mature content, but it does discuss some themes that are, quote, sensitive, especially, considering Webtoon's strict censorship rules. So there will be a couple of pages on the Webtoon version that are censored or edited because they are very strict about certain things, as we all know. But on Tapas and the Ninth, it will be totally unedited. So you can feel free to go there and see the full uncut version.
Yes, and I dare say that the characters that will take part in this comic are very much against censorship. Yeah, I think that they would like the idea of avoiding it, evading it.
Exactly. Ironically, this will be censored. So it's an interesting idea that, the characters are against censorship and I'm against censorship, and then it has to be censored to be on Webtoon. This will be
Oh
our
yeah,
first
the sacrifices we have to make.
the first censored thing on Webtoon. But yeah, like in general, when I do something that has more mature content, it will not be on Webtoon because some of my future releases, especially, the Sam New York anthology, which is not really suitable to the Webtoon audience or, the target audience because they prefer to read stuff that has less text. And also, I think some of the themes there are not quotes appropriate for some of the Webtoon users who are underaged. So it will only be on Tapas and the Ninth, or maybe like, on Patreon if it gets that explicit. Because we know that Patreon is reserved for stuff that is even more explicit than the stuff on Tapas.
Yes.
Yes. So back to the comic, we're going to talk a little bit about what it is, the length, and what characters are appearing in it, because not only are my characters appearing in it, some of yours are going to be there as well.
Yes, three of my characters, at least, are going to be there. And these are Eyolf, Rannveig, and Edgar, which is Aiden's brother. And he's a character that we have not discussed very much, but hopefully his appearance here will trigger future discussions, especially because he will be a protagonist in one of the short stories that I'm going to post within the um, Tales from the North series on Tapas.
Mm-hmm. And you can see Rannveig in her 1920s outfit behind me in blue. And right next to her is Eyolf, who is in his 1920s outfit.
And of course, it is yellow because his iconic outfit in Lucky Wolf in 10th century Norway was also yellow.
Mm-hmm. And in the corner is Ardalion as Mephistopheles. Because as Tete has described him, in many ways he is like a Mephistopheles-like character because he likes to kind of tempt people, he likes to see people's reactions, and in many ways he likes to see how people can be pushed. And he's going to be pushing two people in particular who are the complete opposite of Eyolf and Ardayan in terms of morality and personality. One of which is one of my characters, the Dean, and the other person is your character, who is Edgar.
Yes, yes, very much so.
And both of these people are very strict, and I think as we would say, they would have a good friendship.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Their ages are very different, but the dean was he was a professor for Edgar, right?
I think so. Yeah, we should write down the backstory on a Google Doc so we can keep track of it. But I think we said that. Did Edgar go to university?
Uh, I don't know. No, I think that he was just going to the dean's lectures, right?
Okay, so he just walked in, like it was like one of those public lectures, and he decided to join.
Okay, or they just met in church.
I think it would be better if they met in church.
Yeah, that's true. They met in church, and Edgar's father, the elderman, who of course will have to have a name in this setting. He cannot be called the elderman, but he also knows the dean, and I think that Edgar would actually consider the dean a better father figure than his own father is.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because the dean never had children, so he might consider Edgar the son he never had.
This is so touching, such a touching relationship between these two characters.
We need to explore this more, I think. Maybe in for Father's Day comic, Edgar and the Dean.
Yes, yes, that's a good idea.
Yes. And the Dean, I think he met Edgar at their church, and maybe the Earlderman is a pastor. What do you think? Or is he running for mayor? Like both, maybe? He's like a religious person who is running for mayor.
No, I think he's just running for mayor because he's the kind of politician who really supports the church, but he doesn't apply the morals to his own life. So this is one reason why Edgar is not very fond of his father. I mean, they have a good relationship because Edgar is kind of obedient. So he does the things that he has to do, but this doesn't mean that he also shows his appreciation towards his father in other ways, and he doesn't like that he is not, well, he's neither the intellectual Edgar would appreciate nor the person with a high morality, and these are two things that he finds in the dean.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And he would not really take issue with the fact that the Dean is kind of pushy and nosy, right?
Oh no, no, not at all. I mean, he would think that he just wants the good of everyone around him and he just wants to help them. And which is exactly what the dean says he wants. So, yeah, it really works on Edgar. Unlike
Yeah,
Sam and other students of his.
exactly. Who just think he's really, condescending and, he only believes in one right way. Like everyone else is wrong.
Yes, and Edgar would say, of course he does, because it is the only right way. What else would he believe in? He's not a hypocrite. That is the true way.
And yeah, so then these two are going to be going to the bookstore. And then we also have Rannveig, who in this universe, I think she knows Lena, and they're both like rich party girls.
Yes, that's true. They love going to parties and sometimes in places where they should not be from the point of view of their families. I mean, I think that Ranveig's uncle is more permissive than Lina's parents in a way. I mean, her parents are quite permissive, but they also kind of ignore her, right?
Mm-hmm, exactly. So then she always kind of wants more attention because her parents have been sort of like distant.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's very similar to Ranveig's own relationship with her uncle. I mean, he's not he does the best that he can do, but it's not really what Ranveig would want. I mean, he's old and he's a man as well, so he doesn't understand certain things because of the generation gap, and he's quite permissive and protective, but from a distance. So that leaves Ranveig free to do all kinds of things and meet all kinds of people, and she's the kind of young woman who wants to seem very open-minded, even much more than she actually is, because she's not really as rebellious as she wants to seem. But she really likes playing this role because she likes the attention that brings her. And well, she doesn't pretend. I mean, in her mind, she really is a rebellious person. But I think that once she's placed in certain situations, she would back off, so maybe she gives the wrong impression to some people. I don't know, but unless it gets to that point, it's okay. She's just really cool, to people who meet her.
I see. I think that makes sense. Yeah, in many ways, I think she has a lot of parallels to Lena because both of them want to create a facade of open-mindedness and going against tradition. But in reality, when push comes to shove, I think there's some things that they need to work out, both of them.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And I think that I never realized that he really had so much in common.
Hmm. I mean, even with her relationship with Sam, Lena doesn't know where to take it. Like she just thinks it's entertaining to be with him, but then if they get closer, she's kind of scared too, which kind of mirrors Sam's own fears because he doesn't want to be known or seen as someone who doesn't take things seriously, but then he doesn't know where it's going. Like he can't really foresee where it's going either. So I think that kind of scares both of them.
That's true. And I think it's also kind of similar with the relationship she has with Aiden because it's also Ranvig that is more indecisive about their relationship. Aiden is the one who knows what he wants from the beginning. He knows that he wants to be with her, but Ranvig, well, she doesn't really. I mean, there are many things. It's not really that she's an indecisive person, but there's a situation where she was in love with someone else, and he comes into her life really unexpectedly. So we cannot really blame her. But from this point of view, the one that you said, yeah, I think that there can be a parallel between these two situations.
Definitely. I think one difference though would be that I think you did previously mention Rannveig would not really be that attracted to Sam, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think that she would be more attracted to Frankie because he would seem like, to have a bad boy vibe.
Ironically, Sam's more bad boy than Frankie. That's the funny thing.
Yes, I know. I know.
Frankie is so soft.
Yeah, that's true. But Ranveig would not see that. I think that Frankie would just say things like he would brag about stuff and she'll be like, oh wow, he's such a bad boy.
Well, Sam kind of brags about that too, but he comes off as kind of cheesy or maybe like just more like a comedic type, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And also, Frankie is more, street smart. And I think that Ranvik would like that, as opposed to someone like Sam, who is just, uh, you know, uh, doing more intellectual things. I mean, there is the artistic side, but Ranvik isn't very much into all of that. So I think she would appreciate what Frankie does more. I mean, not in the long run, because in the long run, she wants someone who can have a good social position. So she would definitely marry a lawyer and not someone who works in a restaurant. But yeah, she can be hypocritical like that. She would like to date Frankie, but she would rather marry someone like Sam the lawyer. Not Sam the actor, no, unless he's already famous.
How about Portnoy? Because he's also a lawyer. is he is he a bad boy according to her? Or
Oh
no?
no, no, definitely he's so insecure. She would really hate him, and they would have monstrous arguments.
Well, he claims to be a bad boy. And he claims to be very open-minded.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, maybe if she were just to meet him somewhere like in a speakeasy, then maybe she would think he's a bad boy. But if they start being in a relationship, she would see how insecure she is, and she would really hate that. I mean, not that she would hate an insecure person, but someone who is acting aggressively because of his insecurity and misogynistic. And this is what she would really hate because she goes to great lengths even in the canon version to prove how independent she is, so she definitely would hate that.
True, yeah. And he's always looking for women who worship him, so that's definitely a bad thing.
That's true.
Yes. And then finally, we have Eyolf, who is the star of this comic, along with Ardalion, because he's doing a book launch at Ardalion's bookstore.
Yes. um Eyolf is, well, he is a doctor, but then he does a lot of things. I'm not really sure what kind of doctor he is, but he writes a book that is called Free to Love, and it is supposed to break some boundaries in terms of, what's accepted, what's moral in that society, what's outrageous. And this is why for the cover I've chosen a image from brothel in Pompeii, and I thought that this would really suit someone like Eyolf, because he'd say, "Oh, it's ancient, so it's classy, but at the same time, it's also really, body, because it's a sex scene." I wonder, would it be censored on Webtoon?
Very
It's an
good
ancient,
question.
it's an ancient painting, and it's quite deteriorated, in terms of uh, the quality, the way it's rendered. So I guess I have no idea. Do we have to censor it as well?
I'm gonna look at the picture again, but I remember that, the person who's standing on top, I think their chest is censored. So I think it's okay. There's like this gray thing on it, right?
Oh
I don't
yeah, it's a breast band. This is
Oh, okay, I see.
yeah.
Well, that's good then, because they're only pretty much against certain body parts being shown. So if they're blocked out, it should be okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But then it's the pose, but I'm not sure.
Oh. Well, okay, for Webtoon, I won't upload the poster. You can only see the really small version because there's two versions. The first page for the uncensored version is the poster, like full size. You could read everything. And the second one is the outside of Ardalion Books and Gifts. And there's like three random people standing outside, and the poster's really small. You can't see anything.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to skip the close up. It's simpler
Yes.
that way. Yeah.
Because I don't
Yeah,
want to
but
get deleted. But I mean, yeah, Webtoon is just way too strict. I mean, I think they, like my friend said, I don't know if this is true. Apparently, even armpits are going to be censored.
this is so funny. Armpits. Why? Who thinks that armpits are sexual? I really hope that no one, but
I don't think it's
I
because
don't
it's
know.
sexual. I think apparently it's because they think, like, I guess if it's shaved, it's okay. But if they see armpit hair, they think it's rude.
Oh, it's rude? Oh
Yeah.
gosh, really?
Yeah, so this
Oh,
is why like you can see like those like CEO guys in those romance comics, you can see them shirtless and stuff like that, but they always draw them like with no nipples and no like any body hair at all. So that's acceptable. But when you start adding more realistic detail, it's not acceptable.
okay. So as long as they look like androids, it's okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah, great, great. Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, body hair is rude. Like how? I thought that we were past that mentality where, women are forced to shave their legs. I mean, forced by public opinion, to be shaved. I really hoped we were over that, but I guess body hair is still offensive in some places.
It's not for women though. I think it's for everyone because like the men also
Yeah,
can't show it.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, Eyolf is going to end up pissing off Edgar and the Dean, along with Ardalion, who has a surprise for the Dean and Edgar.
Yes. Yes, that would be awesome to see.
And
Yeah.
he's also
Oh,
done. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go
oh no,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead. I'm going to say it afterwards.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, like there was also the fact that there's a poster on the wall, which on Webtoon will be somewhat censored because there's a body part, right? Once again, which cannot be shown on Webtoon. It's someone's bare chest, and that cannot be shown on Webtoon. So part of the speech bubble on the Webtoon version will be blocking that part.
Okay, so a lot of things will be censored, even though there's okay, there's no sexuality really, but then a lot of things will end up being very much censored. I mean, there is some, but not in the sense that one would expect, in something that's so censored.
Exactly. Yeah. So yes, so that poster, it's actually something that Ardalion and Frankie kind of planned to create together. And when Sam sees it, he's pretty shocked to see it.
Yes.
And
Um,
Eyolf also reacts to the poster.
oh yes, everybody reacts to the poster. It's a really, it really stands out.
Eyolf actually says something to Sam and asks him an important question.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Sam will make the impression of a bold young man to Eyolf, right? So,
When in reality, like he didn't even really know what was happening.
yes. Yeah, true, true. So we're going to see them interact as well. So, yeah, also Sam and Eyolf will be talking.
They will
How
be.
do you think Eyolf and Ardalion met?
Oh, this is a great question. Definitely at the bookstore.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure that they know a lot of people in common. I think they have common friends, because they often are seen in dubious circles.
Oh yeah, we talked about how they both might know Merwin, right? As well as Lev and Riza, because Lev and Riza have a printing shop and Merwin wants to publish her poetry that way. So she knows Lev and Riza. And Ardayan knows Lev and Riza because he wants some of his pamphlets for, anarchism and like leftist stuff. He wants them to print it. And then sometimes they end up printing some of the pornographic stuff that he's put in there. Like they don't even realize. They're like, okay, let's just massively copy all of these things. And most of them are anarchist stuff. And then like in between there's like pornography.
Would Merwin be publishing and holding a speech just like Eyolf is right now?
Do you think she will?
I think she might. I mean, why not? I'm not sure if, although I don't really think that Artayan's place is the best way to do it, but maybe she's invited, for a reading or something. I mean, she'll probably come, but I'm not really sure that this is the kind of audience that she is expecting. So
That's true.
yeah, it's not that she would be against all these things. I mean, I think that she would quite admire them, both Eyolf and Dardayan, but I don't really imagine her wanting to be associated with them. I mean, she would just think, oh, that's nice, they're so bold. But just that, I don't want anything to do with them.
Yeah.
Eyolf, in the kind of advice he's giving and all that with his motivational speeches, maybe, but not with him as a person. I mean, coming to his parties or things like that, definitely not.
That makes sense. Do you think Aiden will be showing up in this comic?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he should. Maybe he should. I have no idea. We'll have to see. And even if he isn't showing up, we'll have to figure out if, does Edgar know Ranvig? Because
Oh
Ranvig
yeah.
is his brother's girlfriend. So maybe even if Aiden is not there, maybe he can recognize her.
Does he know her though, like in this AU? Because canonically, yes, Edgar is Aiden's brother, but Aiden gets taken away to Scandinavia, where he knows Rannveig, right? So then I don't think Rannveig canonically knows who Edgar is, right?
Yeah, that's true. They don't know each other, but here I don't see why they wouldn't know each other. I mean, okay, Aiden is not living in the same house with Edgar, so I don't really know how much Edgar really knows about his brother's love life.
Exactly. So like maybe he's heard her name, but he doesn't know her face.
Yeah, that's true. And also they don't have social media back then to see pictures of them. So yeah, maybe she doesn't. Maybe they don't know each other. Or maybe they had some family dinner or something. I mean, I guess it depends on how far into their relationship they are.
Yeah, maybe they're not that far along, so then he doesn't know her yet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, and um, About Eyolf and Ardalion, I was thinking that I'm not sure how much they would share the same political beliefs, because Eyolf is not much of an really advocate of the working classes or things like that. I mean, yeah, sure, he supports equality and all that, but he would never support something like progressive taxation or something. You know,
That's true. He wouldn't.
he wants all his money for himself and he wants to invest everything and make even more money. So yeah, he would hold like charity events or something for poor people, but he would not give his money away in any other way. If it's a charity, he would make sure that everybody knows that he is donating money. Because he is also like in the canon story, he was adopted by a doctor, and now he wants to pretend that he was never from the street. He was always a doctor's son, and he doesn't want to be associated with working class people in that way. I mean, with being a part of them. So, oh, but he is also a patron of the arts. So he supports independent artists, especially those who have the guts to bring out more controversial aspects of society and things like that. So maybe that's how he knows Sam as well, when Sam is in the beginning of his acting career.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, so maybe he likes to like patronize certain theaters, and this is how he met Sam. And Sam thought, wow, this guy could help me promote me. Like, if I got to know him, maybe I'll get to know more contacts where I can, get a leg up and more people will get to know who I am.
Oh yeah, exactly. And this is similar to that crossover we had back in OC training.
Oh yeah, like years ago, right? The one where he was introducing him to the speakeasies, Eyolf and Sam, I think.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there he was owning a club or something
Oh
when
yeah.
he's a doctor and a writer. So I made him less of a gangster and more of an intellectual than he was back then.
Yeah. Yeah, we really need to think more about the setting. It's really interesting.
Yes. Yes, because if I want him to be with Ingvar in this setting, then I don't really think that Ingvar would be with some gangster. I mean, if he's just a bit of a gangster, like Eyolf is, he has his finances mostly in order if people don't dig too deep. So it's okay. He's mostly gone legitimate
Hmm.
with his businesses.
What do you think Ingvar would be if he was in this crossover?
Yeah, this is a really difficult question. Um, I don't know. What can someone who's kind of, comes from money and um he can own some business, right? So he's
I
the
guess
CEO.
he owns a Sam's University.
Oh gosh.
So he pays the dean. He's the dean's ultimate boss.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm not sure he would be that fond of the dean.
He would be like, "Stop being so strict or I'll fire you."
Yeah, that's true. And stop being so nosy.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was thinking that Ingvar should be. I mean, he would like to have something like an intellectual profession, to be a professor or something. But if I want him to be, world weary and eternally pissed off, I have to make him do something like business. Something that he is good at, but he doesn't really enjoy it that much. So yeah, I think we're going to keep this in this setting as well.
Definitely. And who else? Oh yeah, do you think eventually the Outlaws characters will be in this crossover?
Oh yeah, we really have to make crossovers between our characters. I mean, the your characters and those from Outlaws, and that will be really interesting because the time settings are so much closer. You know, it's just 100 years and 2 decades or something between them. So yeah, that would be really interesting. Though I
Mm-hmm.
don't really know what they would do. I mean, I barely know how my characters from, the Norse setting would interact with the ones from Outlaws, but I have no idea what those characters would do in your world. So we have to figure that out.
The Dean, and I think he would get along with Elisar.
Oh yes, yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Unless the dean would figure out that Elisar is with a uh, young man from the working class, then I'm not sure they would get along so well anymore. But until that moment, yeah.
Yeah, I think the Dean will just raise an eyebrow and he's like, okay. Who
Like,
else?
man, you are on the wrong path, but eventually you will see the light.
No, he'll be like, I'll pray for you or something. He'll say
Yeah.
something passive aggressive. I'll pray for you.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's like when Elisar tells him about his relationship, he's like, wow, like the Dean totally misunderstands it. He thinks he's telling him of a problem that he wants him to solve.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, so this is with Elisar and the Dean. I'm not sure how else they would. What about Amza? Would he get along well with the Dean? Because, they were both kind of from similar backgrounds in a way. So, but then Amza was kind of depraved when he was young. He was like this entitled rich guy, and then he becomes an advocate of the working classes. So I'm not really sure at what point they would get along. So no, I don't really think so.
Yeah, the
Oh, but
Dean.
Amza and Ardalion would get along really well, I think.
Oh, you're right. I think so. Yeah, they
Yeah.
would. Yeah, because Ardalion also wants to overthrow the system.
Yeah, that's true. Oh wow, I never thought about it. And and then Murgo would sort of, you know, have similar attitudes towards them. I mean, maybe minus the romantic part with Ardayan, but then I don't know. I guess it that was very much relying on the context. I mean, the way it happens in the Outlaws. I guess it could have happened with pretty much anyone else.
I think Ardayan would like to inflame Murgu and tempt him even more since he sees him as kind of like another Frankie. You know how Frankie is easily tempted by Ardayan's materials? I think he would think Murgu is kind of similar.
Oh yeah, that's right. I actually think that Morgo and Frankie might get along well. Do you think so?
Yes, they would be so pervy together.
Yes. And Elisara would not really appreciate the closeness between them because he will think that Frankie is corrupting Murgu, that he has tried to show Murgu the right way to be, and then Murgu is really perverting him.
Yes. Do you think Murgu would like Sam?
Um, that's a good question. Well, I don't see why not. Yeah, I really don't see why not. I think
Yeah,
he,
I think they would be okay, right? They would be,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I think so.
Murgu and Aiden. Would they get along?
Wow, I'm not sure how that would go. I mean, I'm not sure Aiden would really have anything to would want to have anything to do with him. Like, what would they even be talking about? I don't think so. I mean, Aiden uh would not be condescending towards him, but he would pretty much avoid him. Like, what will I say to this guy? you know?
Yeah.
And I also don't think Morgan would like him very much.
Yeah, I think they're pretty different from one another, so maybe they wouldn't have that much to say to each other.
Yeah, that's true. I think they are too different.
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll have to discuss more about the crossover between Outlaws and your setting in well, once we figure it out more. I think it's a really interesting theme.
It
It,
definitely is. Yeah. In The Sims, we can also brainstorm more about getting, Murgu, Elisar, and the others to interact with Aiden, Ingvar, and the others.
oh yes, yes, definitely.
Yes. So thank you, everyone. This was an amazing podcast, and stay tuned for the comic that's coming out on Valentine's Day.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.